Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that nothing brings you joy anymore. Activities that once filled you with enthusiasm now seem hollow. Hobbies that used to excite you feel like tedious obligations. Conversations that once engaged your mind now appear repetitive and meaningless. Even experiences specifically designed for enjoyment, movies, music, gatherings with friends, fail to spark any genuine pleasure. You search desperately for something, anything, that might pull you out of this strange state, but nothing truly satisfies. A peculiar and unsettling emptiness takes hold, and you begin to wonder, is this really all there is to life? If you've ever experienced these feelings, know that you're not alone. This phenomenon is far more common than most people realize, yet few truly understand its deeper causes. At first glance, it might appear to be simple boredom, or perhaps a temporary phase of exhaustion. But what if it's actually something much more profound? What if this feeling isn't a problem to be ignored, but rather a message waiting to be understood? Today, we'll unravel this mysterious phenomenon, venturing beyond surface explanations and into the depths of human psychology and philosophy. Why does life sometimes lose its vibrancy? What hidden forces are at work when nothing feels fulfilling anymore? And most importantly, how can you break free from this state to reconnect with meaning, passion, and authentic purpose? By the end of this exploration, we'll uncover perhaps the most powerful truth of all, one with the potential to transform not just how you feel, but how you perceive life itself. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, one of the 20th century's most influential thinkers, dedicated much of his work to understanding the complexities of human experience. He believed that when someone feels disconnected from meaning, it isn't simply about losing interest in specific activities. Rather, it represents a profound signal from the unconscious mind, revealing a deeper disconnection from oneself, from one's genuine desires, and from the innate call towards growth and development. Consider how society shapes us from our earliest years. We're taught that happiness is something to be pursued, often tied to external achievements, excellent grades, a respectable career, financial stability, social recognition. We're conditioned to believe that fulfillment comes from meeting expectations, from following predetermined paths, and for a time, this approach may seem to work. But what happens when, despite checking all these boxes, life still feels empty? What happens when the things we were told would bring joy no longer do? Jung suggested that when this occurs, it isn't a sign of failure, but rather an invitation to move beyond superficial pleasures and embark on a deeper journey of self-discovery. This process, which he called individuation, is the path towards uncovering one's authentic self, free from societal expectations and conditioned beliefs. Yet most people resist this journey. When confronted with a sense of emptiness, they seek more distractions, new hobbies, new entertainment, new experiences, hoping to reignite the excitement they once felt. They fear stillness, because stillness forces them to confront uncomfortable truths. Yet it's precisely in this confrontation that the path forward reveals itself. Think about this. When was the last time you truly felt alive? Not just entertained, not just distracted, but deeply, profoundly alive. Can you recall a moment when you felt completely in sync with yourself? When time seemed to dissolve and you were fully present in whatever you were doing? If that feeling seems distant or even non-existent, it may indicate that you have outgrown the things that once defined you. This feeling of emptiness isn't a flaw. It's not something to feel ashamed of or to suppress. It's a sign that something within you is shifting. You're evolving, and with evolution comes discomfort. The things that once provided meaning may no longer serve you because you're being called towards something deeper. The question is, will you answer that call? Before we can understand how to reignite passion and purpose, we must first examine the hidden forces contributing to this sense of disconnection. Psychological patterns, societal conditioning, and even biological influences all play roles in shaping how we experience life. Until we recognize these forces, we remain trapped in an endless cycle, searching for meaning in places where it can no longer be found. What if the emptiness you feel isn't actually a problem but a message? A signal from the depths of your psyche that something within you is shifting, demanding attention. Yet instead of listening, most people try to escape. They drown themselves in distractions, constant entertainment, endless scrolling, impulsive decisions, hoping that if they keep moving, they'll somehow outrun the void. But they never do. Carl Jung believed that this inner emptiness isn't something to be ignored or feared. He argued that when life feels dull and meaningless, it's often because we've become disconnected from our own inner world. He described this disconnection as the suppression of the self, the deepest, truest version of who we are. Modern psychology supports this idea. Studies have shown that a lack of engagement with personal meaning can lead towards feelings of depression, anxiety, and emotional numbness. The mind craves purpose, and when we ignore our inner calling, we fall into a state of stagnation, a limbo where nothing truly excites or fulfills us. But where does this disconnection originate? Why do so many experience this loss of meaning? The answer lies in how society conditions us to live. From childhood, we're taught to follow a structured path. Study hard, secure a good job, build a stable life. We're rewarded for productivity, for meeting expectations, for fitting into predefined roles. Success is measured by external achievements, not inner fulfillment. And so, we construct lives that appear impressive from the outside, but feel hollow within. Initially, we might not even notice it. The busyness of life keeps us distracted, but eventually, the cracks begin to show. Activities we once enjoyed start losing their magic. Goals we once pursued no longer inspire us. We begin sensing that something's missing, but we can't identify what it is. Jung suggested that this moment of realization is crucial. It marks the beginning of a deeper transformation, but only if we choose to face it. Many people, when confronted with this inner void, seek external solutions. They change careers, relocate to new cities, start new relationships, hoping that something outside themselves will restore their sense of meaning. But the truth is that no external change will ever be enough if the real problem lies within. The feeling that nothing is enjoyable anymore often indicates something deeper, an identity crisis. You may no longer connect with the person you once were, but you haven't yet discovered who you're meant to become. You're standing at the threshold of transformation, but stepping through requires something that most people fear: stillness. Stillness forces us to confront truths about ourselves. It strips away distractions and reveals what lies beneath: suppressed desires, unresolved emotions, unfulfilled potential. It's uncomfortable, even painful, but necessary. Only when we face these truths can we begin the process of rediscovering what truly matters to us. This is why Jung emphasized the importance of introspection. He believed that to overcome this state of emptiness, we must turn inward. We must ask difficult questions. Who am I beyond my achievements? What truly excites me beyond what society tells me should? What have I been avoiding within myself? These questions aren't easy to answer, but they hold the key to breaking free from cycles of emotional numbness. Because meaning isn't something we passively receive from the world, it's something we create. And the ability to create it begins with self-awareness. Consider this: when was the last time you truly explored yourself? Not just within the context of your career or social role, but as a person with unique thoughts, desires, and dreams. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be genuinely curious about life, to pursue something simply because it fascinated you. One of the greatest tragedies of modern existence is that people stop being curious. They stop exploring. They settle into routines that slowly drain them of passion, mistaking stability for fulfillment. But there is a way out. There is a way to reignite meaning, to rediscover what makes life feel worthwhile. The path forward begins with a shift in perspective. Instead of fearing this emptiness, we must learn to see it as a doorway, an invitation towards something greater. There comes a moment in life when the world seems to lose its colour. Things that once brought joy become routine. Activities that once sparked excitement now feel mechanical. You might wonder, why does nothing feel fulfilling anymore? Why does everything seem so dull and repetitive? But what if the answer isn't in the world around you, but within you? Carl Jung believed that these feelings of emptiness and disconnection aren't random. They're signals, messages from the unconscious mind urging us towards evolution. He called this process individuation, the journey of becoming one's true self. Think about it. How often do you truly sit with yourself without distractions? How often do you allow yourself to reflect on what you really want? Not what others expect from you, not what society tells you should make you happy, but what genuinely sparks something within you. For many, the answer is rarely, if ever. And this is where the problem begins. In today's world, we're constantly overstimulated. Social media, endless entertainment, instant gratification, all these things keep our minds occupied, but they don't nourish our souls. They provide momentary pleasure, but not lasting fulfillment. Over time, we become numb. Things that once excited us lose their impact. The constant stream of distractions dulls our ability to experience true joy. And so we find ourselves trapped in a cycle of seeking more, yet feeling less. Jung warned against this passive approach to life. He argued that true fulfillment doesn't come from external pleasures but from inner transformation. The more we suppress our deeper needs, our need for meaning, purpose, and authentic self-expression, the more disconnected we become. And that disconnection creates the feeling that nothing is enjoyable anymore. So how do we break free? How do we reignite the sense of passion and wonder that seems to have faded? The answer lies in conscious action. If the problem is disconnection, then the solution is reconnection. Reconnection with ourselves, with our inner desires, with the things that make us feel truly alive. The first step is creating space for stillness. It may sound simple, but in our distraction-filled world, true stillness is rare. Sit in silence. Observe your thoughts. Pay attention to what arises when you're not occupied with tasks and diversions. It's in these quiet moments that the most profound realizations emerge. The second step is exploring without expectation. Many people fall into believing every activity must be productive or lead towards a specific result. But this mindset kills curiosity. Instead, give yourself permission to explore things simply because they interest you. Read a book on a fascinating topic. Try an activity you've never done before. Follow your curiosity, even if it seems insignificant, because often it's through these moments of exploration that we rediscover what truly excites us. The third step is reflecting on past joys. Think back to times when you felt deeply engaged with life. What were you doing? What about it made you feel alive? Often, the things that once brought us joy still have the power to do so. We've just lost touch with them. Revisiting old passions without judgment or pressure can help rekindle lost sparks. Finally, the most important step is embracing transformation. If you feel disconnected from life, it's because some part of you is ready to evolve. Don't resist this process, lean into it. Allow yourself to question your beliefs, habits, and priorities. Be open to the possibility that the life you once wanted may not be the life you need now. Change isn't something to fear. It's the gateway towards a deeper, more fulfilling existence. There's a secret about meaning that many never realize, a truth so profound that once understood, it can completely shift how you experience life. And that truth is this: meaning isn't something you find, it's something you create. Many spend their lives searching for meaning, as if it's some hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. They believe that someday they'll stumble upon the perfect career, passion, or purpose that will suddenly make everything feel worthwhile. But this search often proves endless, because meaning isn't an external object, it's an internal experience. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He believed that the ultimate goal of human life is individuation, the process of integrating all parts of ourselves, both light and dark, to become whole. And this wholeness doesn't come from chasing something outside us. It comes from becoming fully ourselves. The more we align with our authentic nature, the more meaningful life becomes. So if you feel that nothing excites you anymore, perhaps the real question isn't, where can I find meaning? But rather, how can I bring meaning into what I do? This is the final and most powerful step, learning to infuse life with meaning rather than waiting for it to appear. One way to do this is through deep engagement. In today's world, we've become accustomed to shallow interactions. We skim books instead of deeply reading them. We scroll through social media instead of having genuine conversations. We jump from activity to activity without truly immersing ourselves in anything. And in doing so, we rob ourselves of the deep joy that comes from true presence. Consider, when was the last time you did something with your full attention? When did you last allow yourself to be completely absorbed in an experience? Psychological studies have shown that flow states, moments of deep focus and engagement, are directly linked to increased happiness and fulfillment. The more present we are, the more meaningful life feels. Another way to create meaning is through service and contribution. Many feel empty because their lives revolve solely around themselves, their own needs, desires, and personal struggles. But meaning often emerges when we shift our focus outward, when we find ways to contribute towards something greater than ourselves. This doesn't mean you need to change the world dramatically. Even small acts of kindness, teaching, mentoring, or creating something valuable for others can generate a profound sense of purpose. Jung also spoke about the importance of confronting the unconscious. If you feel disconnected from life, it may be because there are parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Perhaps there are fears, emotions, or desires you have pushed aside because they don't fit your self-image. But these suppressed parts don't disappear. They linger beneath the surface, creating a vague sense of unease, of something missing. The only way to restore wholeness is to face these hidden aspects of yourself. This is why deep self-reflection, therapy, or journaling can be so powerful. By bringing unconscious thoughts and feelings into awareness, you reclaim lost parts of yourself. And the more whole you become, the more life regains its richness. Ultimately, the feeling that nothing is enjoyable anymore isn't a sign that life is meaningless. It's a sign that you're ready for something more. It's an invitation to evolve, to break free from old ways of living, to step into a deeper, more authentic version of yourself. But this transformation doesn't happen passively. It requires action, a conscious choice to engage with life, to seek depth rather than distraction, to create meaning rather than wait for it to appear. So ask yourself, what is one thing I can do today to engage more deeply with life? What is one area where I can bring more meaning and presence? Because in the end, the most important truth is this: meaning isn't something you find out there, it's something you build, step by step, moment by moment, and the power to create it has always been within you. Thank you for watching.